see it.
Yeah.
The new one?
Yeah.
Go way back, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say, it makes it sound old when I say way back. We go back.
Wednesday soccer, Mr. Ware, Coach Ware. I'd say back that far.
I wasn't even going back that far. Wow.
He remembers that goal he scored on you.
Probably not.
That's close. So,
Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
ready to start?
Looks like we got one more minute.
Oh, 1 minute. Call it order. For y'all that don't know me, I'm Cornelius Dandridge, the chair. Good evening. I call to order the November 13th, 2024 meeting of the Design Review Committee.
Our first item is introductions. This evening we do have outside counsel assisting us. Please welcome Mr. Kyle Eldridge with Sands Anderson. If you could, please provide a brief introduction for Mr. Eldridge to get to know everyone in the room. I guess, JM, we can start with you.
Yeah, I'm John Michael. I'm a planner with the Goochland County Planning Department.
And I'm Jamie Sherry. We just met. I'm Director of Community Development. Nice to meet you all.
Ashley Parker, Design Review Committee Clerk.
Matt Brewer, Design Review at Large from the Planning Commission.
I'm Jennifer Mullen. I'm representing the applicant.
I'm Corey Hoffer. I'm the applicant, Goochland County resident.
I'm Janine Hoffer, Goochland County resident, co-applicant.
Brett Hammons with Bowman. We're the civil engineer for the applicant.
Colin Jesse also with them.
John Wilson, architect.
Paul Costello, Design Review Committee.
Corey Dandridge, Chair of the Design Review Committee.
Patience Armstrong, Design Review Committee.
Introduction, so chair resignation going to. So tonight I am stepping down as chair. I still would like to be, I think it's approved to still be on the board. I just feel like some things are going on now where I can't do the chair the way it should be done, and I'd rather resign and let somebody else do it than do it halfway.
Absolutely. And then if we can open the floor for nomination of the chair.
I would nominate Paul Costello, please.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. Mr. Costello, turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They get the gavel and everything. All right.
Thank you for being the chair and staying with us.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Keeping me
Effective immediately.
Okay, so has everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes
Yes.
from the July 6th? If so, any comments or is there a motion to approve?
I have some comments.
Okay.
Very minor typo. I know I circled it somewhere. It's, instead of Eastern, it says Eastern. Oh yeah, it's on page 3. And next to the last paragraph, last line. Easter is supposed to be Eastern.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, Paul, you'll have to agree with this. On the last page, I believe I was the one that requested the 6-foot fence be extended to align with where the break was between the residential and the commercial area. And they credited that to you.
We'll make that change.
Other than that, I have no more.
So,
Is there a motion to approve with these adjustments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you. Our next item is the scheduled application. This evening, we have an application by John and Janine Hoffer requesting a certificate of approval, COA, for a modification to required building setback from Patterson Avenue for office professional use on tax map number 6310180B and tax map number 6310180. The property is located at 12900 and 12904 Patterson Ave on the north line of Patterson Avenue within the Route 650 Patterson Avenue River Road Overlay District. The properties are zoned R3 Residential General. The COA is required by county zoning ordinance sections 15.435 and 15.444. Mr. Whalen will begin with the staff presentation. The presentation will be followed by questions, and then the applicant will receive an opportunity to speak and make a presentation.
Thank you, Ashley. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Set this up a little bit so I don't have to stand super awkwardly. I'm John Michael again. I'm going to just read through this. This is a little thick, but we'll get through it together. So for any certificate of approval, the following are considered. The proposed structure or building complies with the entrance corridor or village center overlay district design and development standards. All exterior walls have the same or architecturally harmonious materials, color, texture, and treatments. The combination of architectural elements proposed for a structure, building, or improvement in terms of design, line, mass, dimension, color, material, texture, lighting, landscaping, roof line, and height conform to accepted architectural principles for permanent buildings reflecting the character of the applicable corridor or overlay district as contrasted with engineering standards designed to satisfy safety requirements. And then the last one, the proposed structure, building, or improvement in terms of design, material, texture, color, lighting, landscaping, dimension, line, mass, roof line, and height is not designed to serve primarily as an advertisement or commercial display, and does not exhibit exterior characteristics likely to deteriorate rapidly, be of temporary or short-term architectural or aesthetic acceptability, or otherwise constitute a reasonable foreseeable detriment to the attractiveness and stability of the applicable entrance corridor districts. This is the design review committee process. So we're here to consider the applications that have been appealed by the applicant or referred by staff. The DRC may approve or deny the application or approve the application with conditions required for compliance, including conditions that delegate approval authority to staff. The DRC may recommend suggestions to assist in a resubmittal based on what they see. The staff will require applicants to submit plans reflecting any changes or conditions imposed by the DRC. So anything you hear today, if it doesn't get approved or is approved with conditions, we would get that back from you, with the suggestions that were given or the conditions, and then we would review that again. In order to allow for reasonable expansion of existing structures and to allow flexibility in the application of the design and development standards applicable to overlay districts, the design review committee may grant reasonable deviations from the design standards if the site's topography, configuration, or other unique circumstance prevent full compliance with the requirements. In such cases, the design review committee may impose conditions that will accomplish the purpose of the requirements to the maximum extent practical. Okay. So here is the information about the property, as we call these two parcels. It's in the southeastern part of the county. It's in District 5. The application type is a certificate of approval. The request is relief from the overlay district setback requirement, which differs from the base zoning. It's located at 1290 Patterson Avenue. It's in the Route 6 650 overlay. It's almost exactly 2 acres for both of the lots. The current zoning is R3, and the comp plan has it as a single-family residential of medium density. And so we have a couple of maps coming up. So on the left is the vicinity map, shows roughly where we are. It's almost right exactly where that Route 6 sign is, if you can see that small. On the right is the aerial photo. This is the existing conditions. On the left side, or the western side, is the building which will be improved upon or renovated. On the right is a vacant building right now. You own both of the properties that are listed here. The current rezoning is on the left. So currently it's R3. Abutting it or adjacent to it is the RO, which is currently it's the Creekmore Office Park. So this use exists very nearby in a well-established office park. And then on the right here is the 2035 comprehensive plan, which you can see Creekmore is listed as office, but not retail. And the subject property is listed as single-family residential. This is a site layout that was provided by the applicant. I've highlighted the setbacks, as that's what we're focusing on in this meeting. The R3 base zoning requires a 100-foot setback, which they show, and it's this dashed line that goes across. The overlay requirements are the 125 feet, and as you can see, it cuts through the top half of their proposed building. There is one proposed entrance, which exists currently. So the request for the modification to section 15-444.b.1 is the overlay requirements that specifically speak to setbacks. The code states that the minimum setback for Patterson Avenue and River Road West would be 125 feet. That is reduced to 75 feet if they're able to get the parking into the rear of the lot. And then the general River Road corridor would be 100 feet. And it's important that there's an asterisk that it's measured from the right of way. It's not measured from the center line of the road or anything like that. So just to recap everything, the base zoning setback requirement for R3, which is the current zoning, is 100 feet. The applicant's proposed structure and the existing structure meet that requirement. The applicant does not meet the 125-foot setback requirement set out by the overlay districts. Do you have any questions?
The question is kind of for future down the road. On the back of the property, behind Creekmore, there's residential. If there were residential extending beyond the back of this property, how much of empty space or buffer would there be between their building and the back of the property?
I believe that on the site plan, they have left a good bit of space. They intend to leave the existing vegetation. It's kind of hard to see, so I'll probably let you all show that a little better.
Yeah, I think you can back it up from to the aerial.
Yeah.
You can probably see there you go. Or even
residential.
Yeah.
And I can address
Just
it
one
too
forward,
in our portion.
So you can see where Creekmore on the right, office no retail label.
Yeah.
So that runs behind the 12900 property, which is the east side of the property.
Very good.
Oh, absolutely. I can highlight also what our setbacks are and then show where the existing landscaping is too. In addition to the Creekmore has a buffer to its rear, so that portion of the pink and the blue are buffered behind it between that and the single-family residential on the other side.
And you had mentioned in terms of the different criteria about how these come before the committee. There's two ways: either staff recommends it, or
Or an appeal.
appeal.
But
How did this come to the committee?
So
It's a great question. So we started this process initially in a rezoning attempt. And the rezoning committee run by, I believe, Ray Cash kind of runs that committee. He came back and he said, well, let's try to get you with the DRC to talk about whether we can get this setback approved, because we need about 10 or 15 feet or so to keep the existing structure as our intent. So that's why we were referred to the DRC. Yeah, we had our initial meeting with the rezoning committee on March 20th of this year. And so ever since then, and another thing was we only own one piece of property, and they said another suggestion would be to buy that eastern property so you have enough room for parking. And so our intent is to keep that natural. I mean, just that area. Our intent is to demo. There's one structure. It's a dilapidated structure on that lot. So our intent is to demo that and just keep it natural area.
okay.
Yeah. Good question, I think. Yeah.
That was my understanding too.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions?
What's the northwest corner setback from the property line currently on the dwelling that is proposed to be improved?
Let me pull up the site layout.
24 feet.
Okay. And then the structure that is to be demoed?
That is over, is this one the existing?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's up in the far right.
Yep.
Almost down to the property line
Right.
currently.
And those are being kept as two separate parcels?
No,
No.
they'll be, the lot line will be vacated and So that process is underway now to make one parcel, yeah.
And there's no existing proffers or any other cases on this property, so it's clean. There's no need to amend anything. Any other questions for the applicant or? Okay, well then I'll yield my time.
Would you like me to drive or do you want to switch spots?
I might just sing
Oh yeah, that works. Yeah, no.
on standard. Okay, great.
Yeah, pull up this recent one. There you go.
Thank you.
No worries.
Good to see you. How'd you give me a tutorial? I just was down.
Yeah, that is not, it wasn't PowerPoint, so. So just scroll with it or hit leave down.
There.
We'll get it close now.
Is it working with the arrows?
There we go. All right.
Might just have to scroll.
Well, thank you all for your time. Again, I'm Jennifer Mullen with Roth Jackson on behalf of the applicants who are also here. We also have our architects and our engineers if there are any specific questions, but thank you for the staff presentation. That covered a lot of what I wanted to talk about, so I just want to highlight a few items. So this obviously is our location. Right next to, on the west, is Richmond Country Club, and then here is the Creekmore office condominiums. And so you can see in the next slide here, it comes behind it, as we were just showing on that area. So this section here is still the office condominiums, which has a proffered condition for the buffer to its rear. And so the new site plan, this just shows this is what the zoning would require if rezoned. And so you'll see in the aerial, there's more significant vegetation that is back here. And all of this section here is the existing building itself. So if you think back to those red lines, this is the 100-foot line, this is the 125-foot line. So really what we're asking is for the existing structure to be permitted as it sits today. So that existing structure is a one-story structure. It will be renovated to have a story added on the top, and then the addition to the building is in the rear. So the addition is all out of the 125-foot setback. It's really talking about authorizing this legally non-conforming use that sits where it does currently. And this just shows you the new parking area, so you have handicap accessible spaces coming into the building, and your existing vegetation around. And you'll see down here on the site plan, this area here is the tree line. And so you'll note we have made a note on the plans just in response to the staff report with respect to the landscaping. So the landscaping, and I'll show you a few pictures, is great. It's existing vegetation, it's mature, it's evergreen, it's everything that you would want out of an entrance corridor, because you cannot see, and I'll show you, if you think about Patterson Avenue here, that is a 55-mile-an-hour street. So this just shows you the overlay. Again, you have vegetation all both in the right-of-way and on the property, and so that would only be supplemented and taken down if it were diseased or dead, and so that's part of the overall site plan process. This just shows you some images. Again, you can see that it's evergreen, so we're on the opposite side. So this is all 55 here. This shows the entrance, so you can see the existing house, so that's the one that will remain. The structure over here is the one that's right up against that lot line. That one will be taken down. And that was the parcel that they recently acquired. Again, just showing some images from the median, just so you can get a sense. And again, just to think about the overlay requires the 125 feet, but if you're talking about the landscaping within it, it requires one large deciduous tree every 100 linear feet, 2 small deciduous trees every 50 feet. So we have about 580 linear feet on the frontage. So we're really talking about 5 large trees and 10 small trees. Whereas here you have dense, evergreen, mature, large, and small that would all be maintained again and supplemented if they were dead or diseased. this piece is just for illustrative purposes. Just so you can understand the first floor is being renovated, adding the second level, and then adding the addition on the rear of the building. And that is all compliant with the overlay district materials, design, lighting standards that I think could be permitted and approved with the COA administratively, but for the setback. So it's really just the setback piece that we're here because you all need to authorize that modification. Again, just to show you, it's again, just for informational purposes, this will be for a financial services firm, which they own, and that will be their business. So they are not only Goochland residents, but they're moving their business to Goochland from Henrico County. So this is a great opportunity not only for a quiet office business that is compatible with the adjacent property, but it really fits within the overlay district, not only intent, but reality, because the building is being reused where it is currently today. So with that, I think that the components of the plan as presented meet the requirements for the waiver of the overlay, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have and respectfully request your approval of the COA.
It might have been on one of the site plans that I saw, there was a drawing of the monument at the entrance.
Yes.
Where people see it. Is that where's that going to be?
Right here, yes. And so if you think about let me get back to the existing image, just coming in. So, I think it's probably about right there, is that right?
Yep.
In the location? And so that would have to meet all of the material requirements as well.
They just want the monument to be visible because the house certainly isn't.
Correct. And I think again, one of the benefits of the user itself is that there's not a huge amount of traffic coming in and out of this office building.
And just to confirm, because I think in John Michael's presentation, the setback is at the 100 feet is at the front of the porch, is that correct?
Correct,
The
yes.
porch doesn't push it further forward.
That's correct. So this dotted line here is your 100-foot line. This is the 125.
The red lines were really long.
Yes. I wish I would have thought of that.
That's right. I wish I could.
And the parking lot is primarily between 100 and 125 foot, is that?
Correct. So this is the first handicap space here. This is
Is that 75?
this
or
is your 100 feet. This is probably 75.
Yep.
Is that right?
Okay.
So 75 and 100.
And what was John, when you talked about 75 feet related to the parking measurement, can you just do that again?
Yeah, so if the parking was able to be shifted to the rear of the building, it would allow for 75 feet as the setback. But I don't believe that they're able to, just with the geometry of the lots here, to be able to do that, which is why they're putting it on the side, which is why they're here, requesting the relief.
But again, from a visibility standpoint, you're thinking about your Patterson Avenue going 55, you're not really going to be able to see up the driveway.
And for clarification, is like the kind of heavy pattern, is that the existing driveway?
Yes.
And then the lighter shade underneath is what the improvements to the road are going to be? Or
Yes, that's correct. Any other questions? Thank you.
It's like a nice, clean designed building, office building. So it's
You can thank John for that.
and I guess that complements to the,
Same look and feel.
Same look and feel.
Yeah, to the East Street more, yeah.
and you said a lot that you decided that's just going, you're just going to leave that natural buffer, or do you
That's
have
correct.
for that?
Just natural.
Which is nice because it puts more space.
Right.
That's their building and anything else is behind.
Is that, any more questions? Staff, anything else to add?
applicant?
No?
I think it looks like a good compromise because, you know, if they were to make a huge investment and the northern boundary of those properties falls way off, you know, they could pull the building up another 25 feet closer to the road, which some could argue would be less likely. So I think it's a great use for the property, the way it's proposed.
I think the addition in the back really takes a lot of issues off the table as well, so it's good. Well, do you want to move for any further questions or close the, any further comments? Close for comments? Do I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve the application for the COA for a modification for the building setback.
Approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Granted. Good luck.
Thank you.
Nice project. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Just for the record, we have no old business and no other business. We can adjourn.
There you go.
Thank you.
First, look at me, said, I was like, hi, nice to meet you.
Thanks so much.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Sorry.